Okay, Friday, 3rd of October 2025. So, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Bitcoin, the charts are screaming at you through 100 megaphones. Now, there's two interesting ways to look at understanding and getting awareness of Bitcoin. You entering it through money, the charts, for example. You come for the money, but end up staying for the revolution, which is interesting. And or you approach it from a first principles economics or finance or tech background and understand it through a certain lens. For me, it was kind of economics in the early days in 2014, 15. Okay, so what's interesting is that some people don't always tend to appreciate either of these venues, or they don't see it, or they have say some bias that or blind spot that holds them back from recognizing Bitcoin through certain lenses. I did a video about this. It's the coming ontological, I think it's ontological shift that will emerge from Bitcoin, meaning the way we categorize things in our mental models will break because of the first principles of Bitcoin, the tech, the maths, the physics behind it. As I always say, Bitcoin is open source code, it's physics and computer science and maths. That's it. Okay. The other side could be interesting with regards to seeing it through a pure greed, because Bitcoin, you could argue in some way, Bitcoin monetizes or strength is powered by greed, but that's another conversation. People come for the money and stay for the revolution, meaning they come for the money, they learn a lot, they get their fingers burnt, or they make a lot of money, and they go deeper. It's this interesting positive feedback loop. As you learn more, you have more confidence and conviction. But as you allocate more, as you buy more, you realize you should be responsible and increase your knowledge. It's a very fascinating feedback loop. Now, what's very interesting is that this over here is expressed through the charts. This over here, the first principles are embodied and visible through the chart we see over here. The 200-week moving average chart, the hash rate, for example, the realized price, the logarithmic chart, things like that. The 200-week moving average is a good example because it's always increasing, so is the hash rate. So what that means is, by combining its first principles and being expressed through the charts, we see that on many, many charts, Bitcoin to pound, Bitcoin to dollar, Bitcoin to euro, Bitcoin to rubles, Bitcoin to rupees, Bitcoin to Canadian dollars, Australian dollars, peso, Mexican peso, Argentine peso, you name it, Turkish lira, Polish zloty, Hungarian florins. Through all these patterns, through all these charts, a pattern emerges, a trend emerges. And in trading, there's a nice mantra: the trend is your friend. So, as you look at all these charts, you realize there's a pattern there. And the more you look at, the stronger the pattern correlation is. Up and to the where? Where into the up? That direction. That's powerful. So these price actions are being expressed because of its first principles. These first principles are a little abstract, but to see it resulted, for example, the fixed supply, 21 million, but to see it expressed in multiple charts indicates there's something there. So the Bitcoin signal, noise and signal ratio, I'm sure I did a video about that actually, is being expressed through all these charts and poetically through 100 megaphones, insofar as that chart and that chart and that and that and that and that all say the same thing. And you can go deeper to, well, up and to the right, and go deeper to say, right, well, on any 3-year time frame, you're in the money. Well, look at that chart, that back tested, that chart, back test. Well, that's interesting. And then you can go even deeper on Bitcoin Infinity Day, 21st of August. You can say infinity divided by 21 million. Again, this is this. First principles, that's being expressed by the price, the charts. And Bitcoin Infinity Day says, everything in the world divided by 21 million. There can be no limit to how many books made, shirts made, devices, hardware, cars built, homes built, land built. There's no limit. Or the limit, the cap is uncertain. You know, how much gold is there in the world? Well, it's kind of in this range, we kind of think, but maybe it's, you know. But over here, the first principles in Bitcoin, it is programmatically at the protocol level fixed. We know exactly how many, and we know exactly when they'll be mined or created or put into circulation, let's say. So that means that everything in the world which is uncertain, either uncertain limit or no limit, you know, how many cars can exist in the world? How many books can be printed? Infinity, we can say. But we know the denominator, 21 million. So if the denominator, if we change the denominator, I did a video about this as well, change the denominator, it's 21 million. Everything else in the world has to squeeze into these 21 million coins. And what does that imply when you follow that logic? Up onto the where into the where? What's all these charts over here saying? What are they all revealing? The pattern. Trend is your friend, remember? Wow. What's your time horizon? Because then the meta pattern at play is, what is your time horizon? How much patience do you have? How long can you hodl for? Oh, 10 years, 20 years, ooh, pick a number. Fine, pick a number and stick to it. Fair enough. And that's the deeper level as well at play. Because then you could say, right, well, as these prices go up, well, it's not that Bitcoin's increasing in price as per whatever chart. It means that that other coin, the other part of the trade, that fiat is melting away, melting ice cubes, that analogy, through inflation as a first principle. Fractional reserve lending, quantitative easing, you name it, and other things that will be conceived in the next decade or two to keep the whole thing going. Very interesting. 21 million of this, backed up by the first principles over here, as expressed over here with the price action on all these different charts. The market is screaming at you through 100 megaphones, being poetic, of course, not literal megaphones, but nicely poetic. The signal, the more charts you look at, realized price, 200-week moving average, Bitcoin to Euro chart, Bitcoin to Turkish lira chart, they only go one way. When in doubt, zoom out. The trend is your friend. And then the next stage will be, how much patience have you got? Very interesting. Very interesting. So it's these two angles. You approach it through first principles, or you approach it through the money. You come for the money and you stay for the revolution. And that, interestingly, is a paradoxical thing to say. That's why you need higher price. Well, not need, but it's a feedback loop. The higher the price goes, the more users. The more users, the next big vlogger is going to appear in the space or enter the space. The next big Michael Saylor is going to enter the space. Because right now, he could be ignorant to it or not liking it or having no interest in it. But then 6 months later, the person buys, and 6 months later after that, so 12 months from today, he's advocating it on a podcast that gets, 1 million views by tomorrow morning. Awareness, understanding, and that you could also argue at a deeper level is the 200-week moving average at play, meaning there are more people being more educated about it, so they buy more of it because they realize the first principle values of it. They go from buying it as a speculation, come for the money, and they stay for the revolution. I'm sure I did a video about this as well, meaning don't look at it as a trade. They're seeing it as an alternative system, a Bitcoin standard, a new denominator, a different denominator, a better system to be on. Come for the money, stay for the revolution. Powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff. Yeah. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.